Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you're all doing very well on this Sunday morning. Well, today we start with a new book in the Bible that is called Judges. And today is more going to be just like an introduction or summary of the book of Judges. Now, the book of Judges, the Israelites are in the promised land. And they're supposed to take over the land, but they don't always do that. They think they can decide what is right and wrong for themselves, just like Adam and Eve did in the Garden of Eden. So we're going to look at the Bible, God's Word, God speaking to us, and we're going to look first at Judges 2, verses 1 to 5. Judges 2, verses 1 to 5, and as always, we read out of the New International Reader's Version, which can be found on the YouVersion app. Let's listen. The angel of the Lord went up from Gilgal to Bochim. There he said to the Israelites, I brought you up out of Egypt. I led you into this land. It is the land I promised to give Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. At that time I said, I will never break the covenant I made with you. So you must not make a covenant with the people of this land. Instead, you must tear down their altars. But you have disobeyed me. Why did you do it? I have said something else. I said, I will not drive out those people to make room for you. They and their gods will become traps for you. The angel of the Lord spoke these things to all the Israelites. Then the people wept out loud, so that place was called Bochim. The people offered sacrifices there to the Lord. And another verse in the book of Judges that helps us to understand what the whole book of Judges is about and why the people are acting the way they do is Judges 21, verse 25. This is actually right at the end of the book. Judges 21, verse 25. And it says, in those days, Israel didn't have a king. The people did anything they thought was right. Now, they actually had a king. They had king who is God that they needed to obey, but they decided that they don't want to obey him. They want to decide what is right and wrong for themselves. And as we can see in the story, and this story shows an example of what all the other stories in Judges is about, is that Israel falls into sin and idolatry. Idolatry means that they worship something else or someone else than God. So they started worshiping the gods of Canaan, of this promised land. And then Israel is enslaved to their sin and their idolatry. Then what they do is they cry out to the Lord. They're suddenly sad and repentant. And what God does is he raises up a judge for them. And he delivers them through that judge. And then for a short while, Israel is serving God as they should be. But then yet again, they fall into sin and idolatry. Now, this is a very, very important type of cycle to understand because it shows us how God uses humans, a human representative, a human hero in a way, to deliver his people. And what happens in the New Testament is that Jesus becomes the ultimate judge and the best judge because he is not only human, but he is completely God as well, which means he doesn't sin and he delivers the people once and for all. So he's the ultimate judge. Okay, so that's it for today's boys and girls. Not a very long lesson. Next week, we'll hear a little bit of stories out of the book of Judges for the next couple of weeks, actually. We'll hear a few stories out of the book of Judges. So let's go to a few questions now, boys and girls. First question. Why was the angel of the Lord angry at the Israelites? And then was he right to be angry? Second question. How did the Israelites respond? So what did they do when the angel of the Lord was saying these things to them and being angry? And then, third question, explain the cycle of the book of Judges in your own words so that you can understand it, so that it makes sense to you. Well, that's it for today, boys and girls. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.